Hello everyone, and I have Dr.Abhijeet Shukla with me today, and he secured an amazing rank of 53 in NEETPG 2019. So heartiest congratulations Abhijeet.
Thank you मैम.
कैसा लग रहा है?
Actually सच बताओ तो it's really a dream come true. मैंने कभी सोचा नहीं था इधर आके आपके साथ बैठूंगा.
The bigger dream is rank 53. That's so amazing among 1.5 lakh students. So again, congratulations on this amazing achievement. Abhijeet has been a foundation student with us, and he followed it up with test and discussion. T&D. Right. So I think Abhijeet, pehle to the students would want to know when they start their preparation for an exam like NEET, right? What do you think is the most important thing for it?
First of all, we have to be clear with our fundamentals.
Okay.
And for that, my approach had been that I used to read all standard books like Robbins, Harrison, Bailey. And after that, when I joined DAMS, I came to know that that approach was correct, and only solving MCQ books was not enough.
Yeah.
We had
and because you know at DAMS in the foundation class especially, we teach from these standard textbooks.
From the standard books.
So in fact we would sometimes open your standard textbooks and sort of do it with you, and it becomes easier to correlate things with that.
Yes, ma'am.
Right.
Exactly.
So the first and the most important thing you said is clearing your concepts, and therefore I would take it forward and ask you how important is therefore attending a class and sitting there listening to a live class and clearing your concepts there with the biofeedbacks.
Yes, ma'am, very important. Nobody can succeed without having his fundamentals clear.
Yes.
And for that, DAMS is very beneficial because we feel that whatever a DAMS faculty teaches within 3 days or say 2 days for a particular subject, that is enough to consolidate whatever we have learned over a particular year, like say first year or second year. And that is the magic which DAMS gives.
And when you made your set of notes right in the foundation classes, were they helpful for your professional exams as well?
Yes, ma'am. Definitely. Especially I would like to comment upon medicine. I had read only Harrison for medicine, and so revising just before the final exam, I found it easier when I combined it with DAMS CRS and the notes.
Okay.
Especially for nephro, CVS and CNS.
Okay. Right.
So that definitely helped.
Wonderful. And also you started early, so you started from the foundation and you started attending the classes. And how important do you think is that, starting early as well?
Yes, that is very important. We cannot just do and achieve what one has started or the previous 3 or 4 years in 1 year.
That's right.
So definitely time factor is very important.
Yes.
The earlier we begin, the better it is.
Right. And now coming to the follow-up, because once you do the foundation and the pre-foundation courses, your exam would be 2 or 3 years after that, right? And it's very important to, when you come close to the exam, that you learn the exam skill and you have a target-based approach. So and T&D is one of the best ways to do it. So do you think that it was a good thing to do the T&D along with your internship, and sort of did it solve the purpose?
Yes, especially I would like to say that when I started giving tests, my negatives would be in the range of 100, 90.
Okay.
And as teachers used to tell us that we should aim for 200 correct.
That's
we should try to minimize as much as possible.
That's right.
Then I started bringing it down slowly.
Wonderful.
In CBT1 and CBT2, still I did not do as well. My rank was 3000.
Okay.
And negatives were in the range of 90 to 100 still.
Okay.
But then within the last 1 month before the exam, as I did my third revision, that helped me a lot, because after revising some of the questions which previously I used to get stuck upon. Exactly. So those 40-50 questions I converted into positives, and that's why I could get in the range of 240 plus and negatives only 40 or 50.
That's wonderful.
So that helped me a lot.
Great. And when you talk about the T&D and we give you a week time and then we have a schedule for you.
Yes.
How important do you think is following the schedule, and what did you do the week before the test?
Ma'am, first of all, it was like it was like setting up an infrastructure.
That's right.
Having a particular target set in front of you, like say suppose FM is coming in the next week. So I used to find it easy to say do FM for the particular week. If it would not have been such, then I would have been confused what subject to take and how to switch between subjects. So TND helped me in that. That they gave me a ready-made timetable, so I did not have to make my own. Otherwise, it would have been there would have been lot of confusion.
Work. That's true.
To do so, you did the work on our part. That's
so
what I
you
can
strictly
say.
Followed the schedule?
Not strictly, because according to the postings I had to adjust.
So you were doing your internship.
So, but mostly I stuck to that schedule.
Okay. And what did you do in the week before the test?
I used to revise the subject whichever test was coming.
Okay. And did you use your notes for those revisions?
Yeah, notes and some MCQ books.
Okay. So primarily that.
Yeah, primarily.
And then you gave the test. Okay. And also, do you think that the test paper quality is good? Did it reflect in the various exams that you've given?
T&D paper was very difficult. I used to find it quite hard.
Okay.
And because of that, it prepared me for the level which, according to me, if you have done T&D, if you have faced those kind of questions, and then I remember you saying in OBGY class also of T&D, that if you have done such difficult questions, then you will definitely find it easy. And that's what I found in NEET.
Because it's you know what happens is, otherwise when you face questions in the exam for the first time, and suppose you're not able to do 2 or 3 of them together, then it has a very bad effect on your brain.
Psychological impact.
And you feel the rest of the paper is also going to be like that. So instead of making the paper, you have to empower the paper, and you have to get that positive feel from the paper while doing it, that you are in the right flow. Great. And do you think that the discussions were up to the mark, and were they giving you all the updated information or things that you needed apart from what you already had?
I feel T&D was like a snapshot of entire foundation course. So whatever they had taught us in 2 or 3 years, that could be revised in 2 days, which was very essential, because if we study a subject for say 15 days, we tend to forget what we studied on the first day. But as we consolidate it within 2 or 3 days, all of the stuff that we have read gets somewhere stored in our mind. So I find that T&D is very beneficial for that.
And eventually T&D would also give you the latest pattern of the questions, right? What you're expected to get. So did you use your T&D notes as well to sort of revise, and did you highlight that these are the probable questions? And
I tried to do that, but within the last 1 month, sometimes for some subjects I found that I could not manage time. So instead of doing those T&D papers, for most of the subjects I did, but for some subjects I just directly read the notes. So I did not go into T&D papers of those. But that was because I could not manage time properly. If I had the time, then I would definitely.
Then you would have gone out from 53 to God knows what rank. But this is very, very good as well, and we are so proud of you for this.
Thank you, ma'am.
And also coming to, apart from T&Ds, do you give grand test, Abhijeet?
Yes, ma'am. On the DAMS online app, I used to give GTs. And it was like a refreshment for me after having read for say 5 or 6 hours.
Because you should switch over.
So I started actually pretty late. I started it in September. But even then I used to read, and then I used to give the test for 3 hours. Then I used to, as sir had told us in the main lecture series, that not only giving the test, but after that seeing the solution is equally important, if not more important.
Definitely.
So I used to study that, and the rank reflected pretty well. I think more than CBT rank, the online test rank reflected much more. It correlated much more closely with my NEET rank.
Great. So because of the consistency that you were trying to maintain with it. And we are giving the subject-wise test also with all the solutions. Even GTs come with solutions. So do you think that they are good part of revision, or when you want to attempt other questions apart from what you've already done?
Yes, most definitely.
And now coming towards the end, revision is a very important factor when you have vast course. And so how did you plan your revision? What was your strategy for revising?
My strategy at the start of the year was that I should minimum do 3 revisions, and then I planned accordingly, say 6 months, 3 months and 1 month. But because of postings I had to shuffle a bit. So my first revision took a lot of time.
Okay.
Then I tried to cover it in my second revision. And then afterwards, third revision was after CBT2, I did the third revision within 1 month.
Right.
And then for some important subjects which I felt were quite important, like Dermat, FM, anesthesia and psych.
So you think that these shorter subjects
subjects
are important to build your rank?
Yes, most important. And so for these subjects I did even a fourth revision.
Yeah, because I think they're very concise.
Yes.
And usi mein se aana hai.
Usi mein se aana
so if you know it by heart, the probability of doing wrong is very less. On the other hand, subjects like medicine or surgery, there is no end.
Yeah.
Whatever you might do, you still land up doing something or the other wrong. So, otherwise people would do quite reverse. They would spend months on medicine without realizing that the weightage of the subject has to be kept in mind and it has to be dealt with accordingly.
Yes, I think that is the smarter approach, that you crack subjects which are easier and where there is less chance of getting negatives, like Dermat. Right. If you know it well, then there is hardly any questions which you will do wrong.
Right.
And that's what people had advised me, and even DAMS faculty had also advised the same. That instead of focusing on large subjects like surgery and medicine,
because if you do that right in the beginning, you lose 4 important months, and you just have another 3-4 months to do all other things, and then you cannot perform that well.
Yes. And plus there is the factor that if there is any clinical question, then at least if you have done final year well, then you can predict based on
and you can rule out from other subjects as well.
Yes, so that. But if there is certain subjects where there is all or none, that if you know, then you can answer. If you don't know, then even if you sit for say 1 hour in front of that question, you won't be able to answer.
No, that's absolutely true. Also, since you talked about that you've done 3 revisions, a lot of people think that how is it possible? So, I would want you to really stress a little more on, did your time on subsequent revisions keep reducing?
Yes, ma'am.
Which is what this revision is all about. Yes, I think you should tell it to me.
I would like to give an example of surgery. For surgery, I had set a target of 100 pages per day.
Okay.
For the MCQ book.
Okay.
And along with DAMS notes. So 100 pages per day took me 15 days for the first revision.
Right.
Then I compressed it into 5 days for second revision, and the third revision I did in 2 days. And like this I did for all the subjects.
And I think the final revisions you stick more to notes because that's what is the concise and you can do it.
Definitely.
So that's very, very important. When you talk about multiple revisions, which is very important for exam like NEET, where there's a vast subject, unless you revise, you don't really recall things. And you have to remember that to do multiple revisions, every revision has to take lesser and lesser time, right? And for that, one source is very important. You cannot have multiple sources. So concise your material. Don't try and accumulate more things, and try and do it in the lesser time with every subsequent revision.
Instead of doing 10 different things, it is better to stick to one thing and do it 10 times. That is, I think, the key of my success.
Wonderful. I think that definitely works, and it is what we should all stress on. Okay, now coming to the examination pattern as well. So this time the pattern was Part A, Part B and Part C, right? Which is different from what they had done last year. And we tried to replicate the same thing in the CBT. So was it helpful for you seeing the same pattern in the CBT?
CBT prepared me for facing that pattern, like say jumbled questions and all that.
Yes.
So that was definitely helpful.
And let's go on to the visuals. So there were about 40-50 visuals, and I think mainly in the Part C, if I'm correct.
Clinical part.
Right. So do you think DVT was useful for that?
Yes, ma'am. It was very useful.
Right. And towards just close to the exam, right? Say a week before the exam, what would you revise at that time?
I did all the short subjects like FM, anesthesia, psych.
Okay.
And the previous day I did a bit of brain sections and all that.
Okay.
And then just on the day of the exam I revised patho.
Right.
I saw all the important tables.
Okay.
And I found out that 3 or 4 questions on the day of the exam, I had read that stuff on the day of the exam itself.
So, this is something I want to highlight, and that is a lot of, because, once people listen this, they will say, oh, he was lucky. But you have to remember that everybody can be lucky by doing the right things. Yes. What makes a difference is that he probably knew what to revise before the exam, and that's what makes all the difference. He wasn't lucky, he's done his hard work. And with that hard work, he knew what he needs to do close to the exam, and that is what probably had a higher hit rate in the exam.
Exactly.
Right. So every student, every child can be lucky. Right. Just do your work throughout the year in a manner so that you should know that eventually you're doing it to revise. And then it will sort of start clicking more in your ranks, right? And any special advice that you want to give to your juniors for the strategy making for this for the
from
NEET?
my personal example, I would like to stress upon the importance of doing things which you like throughout the year. It's not important to stick only to books and stay within your room or go to library. I myself never went to the library all throughout the year.
Okay.
I am an avid trekker. I went to treks almost on all the days when I had no emerge or there was no DAMS T&D scheduled.
Yes, because it's only once a week.
Yeah. So those days took away all my fatigue of the previous week, and I found it very refreshing, and so I could start anew every week.
That's great. I think that is a very wise, because everybody is under stress.
Yes.
And stress can reduce your performance. So you have to find out ways to reduce the stress and not reduce your performance, right? Whatever might work for you. For him, it was trekking. For someone else, it could be just listening to some music. Maybe going out on a walk or talking to a couple of friends. It's very important that you have your buffers. Please don't be stressed out. It's just another exam, right? And you can do it just like he has done. Yes, Abhijeet, I think they would love to hear some motivation from you. Right? You've done it with your internship. Getting a rank like this among 1.5 lakh students or candidates is really, really amazing, right? So what motivation would you want to give to your juniors?
I would like to say that after CBT 2 especially, when there was only 1 month left and I had scored 3000 rank, there was no way possible for me to imagine at that particular time that I could secure a rank like this. So what kept me going was belief in myself, belief in God. I believe in God very deeply, and I knew He would always be there for me, protect me, and that's what has bore fruit now.
Wonderful. That's great, and we wish you all the very best for your bright future, and may you have the best of everything. Thank you so much for being here. It was a pleasure being with you.
Thanks, ma'am. The pleasure was all mine.
No, it's ours as well. Thank you so much.